So you're thinking about a 10-year crypto plan, right? And if you've been looking around, you've probably seen just chaos. YouTube thumbnails promising insane gains, conflicting advice on Twitter, and a whole lot of noise. Today, we're going to cut right through all that. We're going to lay out a structured, long-term approach for anyone who's serious about this. Okay, let's dive in.
And yeah, this quote from a Reddit user, it just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It perfectly captures the vibe of crypto advice. It's the Wild West out there. Part solid financial wisdom, part just hold on for dear life. And that kind of brutal honesty is exactly where we need to start. Acknowledging the risk is step one, but we can do a lot better than just closing our eyes and hoping for the best. So that really brings us to the big question, right? How do you actually build a portfolio for the long haul? We're talking 5, 10 years out, without just, getting completely wrecked. To do that, you need a system. You need a framework to think clearly about risk and reward.
And this is it. We're calling it the crypto risk pyramid. Think of it as a really simple but super powerful way to organize your thinking and your portfolio. We're going to build this thing from the ground up, starting with a stable foundation and then adding layers of calculated risk and, of course, potential reward as we move up to the top.
All right, let's start at the bottom, the absolute foundation of our pyramid. These are the big dogs, the digital titans of the crypto world, the blue chips that should be the bedrock of any serious long-term portfolio. First up, of course, the undisputed king, Bitcoin. We're talking a market cap that has blown past $1 trillion. And just to be clear, that's not big for crypto. That's holy cow, this is a globally significant asset big. That scale, that sheer size, gives it a kind of stability and liquidity you just will not find anywhere else in this market. And right behind it, you've got Ethereum. Now, it's not a trillion-dollar behemoth like Bitcoin, but with a market cap over $200 billion, yeah, that is still absolutely massive. It's the clear number 2, but it's playing a totally different game.
And this is so important to get. These two aren't really competing with each other. They're making two totally different bets on the future. Bitcoin's whole story is digital gold, right? It's simple, it's powerful, it's a hedge against inflation because there's only ever going to be 21 million of them, period. Ethereum, on the other hand, is all about what you can build on it. It's the groundwork for this new, decentralized internet. So for a 10-year plan, you really want a piece of both of these stories. They are the two biggest narratives in crypto by far.
All right, let's climb one level up the pyramid to what we're calling the core. Now, this is where things start to get really interesting. We're talking about projects that have way more room to grow, but, you guessed it, also come with more risk. This is where you have to put on your analyst hat and really do your homework. Okay, so how in the world do you sift through all these serious contenders and find the real gems? Well, you need a toolkit, and I'm going to give you a super simple 3-point checklist to do just that. Analyze the use case, inspect the tokenomics, and evaluate the ecosystem. Let's break them down. Okay, first stop, use case. And it's as simple as it sounds. Does this thing actually do something useful? Does it solve a real problem? Take Chainlink. Sounds complicated, right? A decentralized oracle? But all that really means is it's a secure way to get real-world data onto the blockchain. That's a huge problem that needs solving. Or look at Solana, which is obsessed with one thing, being faster and cheaper than Ethereum. Again, a super clear goal. Here's the rule. If you can't explain what it does in one sentence, that's a big, big red flag. All right, step 2 is a big one, tokenomics. Basically, the economics of the coin itself. You have to ask, does the token get more valuable as more people use the network? Avalanche is a fantastic example. It has a hard cap on supply, and it burns transaction fees. That means the total supply actually goes down over time. That's deflationary, and it's great for holders. Now compare that to something like Polkadot, which has inflation. New tokens are always being made. That's not a deal breaker, but you have to know that. It means your slice of the pie could be getting smaller unless you're actively staking and earning more. And finally, step 3, which might be the most important signal for the long term, the ecosystem. The question you gotta ask is, are people actually building stuff here? I mean, just look at the data on daily active developers. This is the lifeblood of a project. You can see Chainlink is just crushing it here. A ton of developers means the project is alive, it's growing, and it's attracting smart people. That's probably the best leading indicator for future growth you can find. Okay, we've made it to the very top of the pyramid, the apex. This is where you find the high-risk, high-reward moonshots. This is the venture capital swing for the fences part of your portfolio. Look, the potential to turn a little bit of money into a lot is very real up here, but so is the chance of it going straight to zero. You have to go in expecting most of these bets to fail. Seriously. And this quote from CoinLedger really sums it up perfectly. The biggest potential gains are in the smallest projects. But those are the ones that are brand new, unproven, and most likely to completely crash and burn. The dream of turning $1,000,000 into $1,000,000 is what gets people excited, right? But you have to remember that grand can disappear in a flash. So the goal here isn't to be scared of the risk, it's to get smart about spotting the really bad bets from a mile away.
So how do you do that? How do you protect yourself? You learn to spot the giant flapping red flags. First, an anonymous team. Come on, if the founders won't even show their faces, what happens when things go wrong? You can't hold them accountable. We all saw what happened with that Squid Game token fiasco, a textbook rug pull. Second, a vague white paper. If you read it and it feels like a bunch of marketing buzzwords with zero technical meat on the bones, just get out. Third, no real community. Go check their social media. Is it real people talking and helping each other, or just a bunch of bots spamming when moon? A real community is a project's immune system. And last, aggressive hype. Anyone promising you guaranteed returns or crazy fast gains, that's not an investment opportunity, my friend. That's a classic scam.
Okay, so we've built out our risk pyramid. But just buying the assets? That's only half the battle. Holding crypto long-term isn't a passive sport. You have to have an active mindset. You are literally the manager of your own little crypto fund.
You know, this quote really drives the point home. The whole set it and forget it strategy just does not work in crypto. The market moves way too fast. What was a serious contender 3 years ago could be a ghost chain today. And that's why the best advice is this. Holding isn't about blindly holding your coins. It's about holding on to your conviction in the projects. And that takes work. It means staying engaged.
So what does that active management actually look like in practice? Well, here are a few non-negotiables. First, look at your portfolio at least every quarter. Seriously, the landscape changes so fast, you can't just buy and disappear for a year. Second, get a hardware wallet. Get your coins off the exchanges and store your private keys offline. Protect yourself from hacks. Third, understand taxes from day one. Those profits are going to be subject to capital gains tax, so don't get caught by surprise. And finally, the golden rule, the #1 rule of crypto that you can never, ever forget. Never, ever invest more than you are truly 100% prepared to lose.
And there you have it, a risk-based pyramid for your foundation, a 3-point toolkit to analyze the core, and a checklist of red flags to avoid at the top. Now, notice we didn't give you a list of top 5 coins to buy. That's not the point. This is a framework for you to do your own thinking, a way for you to build a portfolio that's based on your own research, your own risk tolerance, and your own convictions. The only question left is, what future are you going to bet on?